and welcome to the spring semester of 2026 in Sacred Heart University. My name is Dr. Irena Portenko, and I'm an adjunct professor of music in Sacred Heart University. I'm working with the students of different backgrounds, different ages, and I do enjoy working with the college students. For me, they are already formed adults, and I take them very, very seriously, not as students, but as young colleagues. I have recently traveled to Germany. I just came back a few days ago, still a little bit jet lagged, but I had a master class with 16 students in a row, which was a little bit challenging both for them and for me. And I was mesmerized with the way that these students paid attention to everything that I was saying, and they made me feel very good about sharing my skills and trying to take them into the direction that I felt necessary to make their skills more vivid and basically to make them do more in the area that they were working. They were very open, and their effort was right into our face, into the faces of everybody who was watching the master class. And one little detail, at the very evening of the same day when I played my concert, it was a long concert, was the longest piece, 53 minutes that I had to perform. They were all at the concert, sitting and listening. So not only did they work with me as students, but also they went to hear me play as listeners. So I feel that the young people of today's, whether it's the students that I meet only once for masterclass or students that I teach during my classes here at Sacred Heart University, they're very interesting individuals, today's young people. They are very different from the generations before. I want to say they are very curious. They're very quick, mainly because of the resources that are given to them. And they're very independent because of that. They always have everything underneath their hands. If they need to figure something out, it's being done within seconds. But they're also very practical. For them, there are two things when you speak to the young people of today's, when you're trying to pass on your experience to them. There are two things that I noticed that they're interested in. Number one, what does it do to me? What do you teach me? What I'm going to get for myself? So it's not just an abstract knowledge, but they want to apply it. And the other question they ask themselves, am I able to do that? Am I able to take it further than the level that you have taught me? So, and this makes me skip everything unnecessary, everything extra, and be very precise with my information and try to find the ways to be inspirational with my own stories, with my own experience that made me stronger in my skills. And in this podcast, I would like to feature our students of the Sacred Heart University, who not only come to the lectures and do the minimum of assignments, but also who take time to do extra, who spend time on their personal and professional growth. Some of them, by the way, are not going to be professional musicians. Some of them do double majors, and they use music as a, as extra skills that they can learn. And as we all know, music skills are translated into life skills easily. When we are learning a piece, we are learning to put ingredients into the piece of music. We bring something of our own to breathe life into this music. Also, we have to respect, if we are performing some composers' music, we are a medium from the time when this composer was alive, or from the time when this composer was writing music, to someone who is listening to us. So we are connecting so many dots while we are performing and while we are trying to understand the essence of the composition. But I found something very interesting throughout my teaching time here at Sacred Heart University. As I have been working with the students, I came up with one assignment that made me feel inspired too. This assignment is based on the interview of the students who have to basically walk around and find 4 people in the creative arts department. So it can be a vocal major, it can be instrumental major, dance major, or most recently I've had a few DJs who gave the interviews. And students have to interview their peers and ask all sorts of questions, like, why do you do music? How did you start? And what is your dream piece? And many, many, many other ones that make us understand who the musicians are, why they're doing it, why they keep doing it, why they're not quitting. And I felt that this is very important to feature students who do extra for themselves and for us, because they are making our lives more enriching by creating something of their own. And our guest today is Noah Held. Noah was a student in one of my classes, and for just a very interesting story, because I had this composition assignment. So Noah and his friends composed a piece for a quartet, and they involved me in performing it. It was so much fun. It was very interesting piece. I forgot exactly what it was called, but it was very, very well composed. And I think they made on purpose, they made the piano part very difficult. So I had to jump a little bit, a few hoops in order to play it. But it was a lot of fun to collaborate with the young musicians. And I would like to speak to Noah from a standpoint of the professional musician, and see what Noah's dreams are, and how he is making his life possible with studying, with performing, with composing. So let's unfold the story. Yeah. Now, please tell a little bit about yourself. So you came to the university. Where did you come from, and whether you had any musicians in your family? So how it all started for you?
Yeah, so I'm from Milford, Connecticut, so I'm not very far from Sacred Heart. But in terms of musicians in the family, my family's about as musical as this desk. And I love them all dearly, but music was not necessarily something that ran in the family.
It can be used as a percussion.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah.
So my parents weren't musical. My brother did play the French horn all throughout high school. He wasn't necessarily bad at it. He was pretty good. But since he's graduated high school, he hasn't really done anything in music. And I've been trying to get him to join some community groups or something like that, because everyone can need French horn players. But yeah, so my family isn't necessarily very musical, but. And for a while, I guess I necessarily wasn't until high school when I really discovered and unlocked music and what music meant for me. It was really, really interesting. I came into high school playing the clarinet and the clarinet only, and I was a third clarinet, not the third one in seating. I was, my part said clarinet 3, and meaning in my high school, there were about 15 other people who were seated above me, and I did not go to a performing arts high school of any kind. It was, public school. I wasn't necessarily that good at it. And what really happened was I ended up really enjoying this one piece of music. I couldn't remember, I cannot tell you the name. I could not tell you who it was by. I can tell you it was the most generic piece of concert band literature that ever could exist. And I really enjoyed it to the point where I just practiced. I couldn't play it. I just could not play it. And I kept practicing and I kept practicing, and I learned it and I learned the part, and I was so proud of myself. And then the world shut down for COVID, so I didn't even get to perform that piece of music. But that really set the precedent of, wow, I really like this music thing. I truly enjoy it. And I couldn't ever say that any of my want to be in music was not affected by my high school band director. My high school band director has been the absolute pivotal person in my life. She is incredible. She's an incredible educator, an incredible person, and someone who I still talk to all the time.
What is her name?
Her name is Miss Jessica Turner. She is I could not thank her enough for handing me my love of music and for handing me all the tools I've ever needed to grow, and I owe so much to her just because she is absolutely incredible.
What a great tribute. Do you know, I have a question about the high school is the time when sometimes you have to get social and, spend time with people. What do you think about this in music? Because music puts you in a condition where you have to be a lot with yourself. How did you?
Yeah. So, as well, the first part of high school was, my freshman year, I was very social. Not a lot of practicing. I wasn't very good. And then I started practicing, and then COVID happened, so I practiced a lot more, because what was there to do other than practice? And that's really where I started to grow and become a competent musician, and become I grew very fast, very quickly, on actually bass clarinet, not necessarily clarinet. I kind of dropped clarinet mixed of COVID. But once I started playing bass clarinet, I didn't really go back. And I was kind of in this low reeds world where I didn't necessarily need to move my fingers that fast as long as my tone was very good and I could play fast every once in a while. And so it really helped me grow without necessarily being an accomplished musician yet. In that world of playing the low reeds and everything really jump started my ability to be exposed to, harder music, digging into, music more like Holst and just Sousa, wind band literature that I love so much. And it really all came full circle once the end of high school, when I was looking for audition and to auditioning into, bigger music schools and, and Sacred Heart, all these programs that I'm looking into. And I kind of hit this wall where I'm like, wow, I'm practicing hours every day. And socially, I was just not, I wasn't really not interacting. I was going to school every day and seeing my friends, but I did limit a lot of the, hanging out with my friends if it wasn't a weekend and all those things. And when it got into the mix of like auditions and everything, the social was very much like clipped from, oh, I need to practice, oh, I have an audition, oh, I have to play here, I have to do this for school, I have to, do some of the audio mixing for the drama club at school. And when you're digging into music, especially when you're first starting, there's so much, you're looking at so much, because especially now, in today's day and age, when you're looking at music, you're not just looking at, oh, how can I be, incredible on my instrument? You're like, here's my instrument. Yeah, but like these other people like are great at their instrument and can, edit audio. So you're like, oh, I have to start looking into Logic Pro. And then you go from that to like, oh, like these people play their instrument really well, can do Logic Pro, and also write music. And I was like, oh my God, I have to look into Sibelius, and that just grows and grows and grows. And it just becomes so much that you can explore, that if you really want to, it can take up 25 hours of your day. So
you basically become your own friend that you spend time with, who is developing more and more and getting more skills and activities, and become more self-inspirational. And you know what? I'm just thinking, all the A-list artists, a lot of people are looking at them and some of them even, let's put it bluntly, they become jealous because, oh, there's so much popularity, but we don't even know how much it takes for them to maintain this level. To get to that level, it's already a big deal, but to maintain and to constantly keep an interest, maintain an interest of the public, and maybe sometimes experiment, which means to take risk with the styles, with the genres, with the setups. So this is very important. Now, you mentioned different activities. So if you perform, then compose. All right, to compose. Now let's see if I can use some audio equipment. What activities would you like to talk about? I'm so curious what you do, because you do a lot of things. You showed me all these scores of the pieces that you're writing, and you are also conducting. I would love to hear more about how many areas of music do you grasp?
Yeah, so mainly I do a lot of playing. Obviously, that is a lot of what I do. But on top of that, I compose, quite a bit of music. This past winter, I was in Norway, Sweden, Iceland, and Denmark, where I premiered one of my pieces internationally with the Sacred Art Band.
Excellent.
We premiered a march for concert bands, and I also served, as the principal clarinet player for both the orchestra and the concert band for that. So that was really fun. So composition's huge.
Congratulations, by the way, with this. This is big, yes. And how did you? Were you nervous when they were premiering?
Yeah, I was conducting for the group when we were playing it, so it was definitely there was a lot of prep that went into it, and I don't necessarily mean prep like work, before I went up there, but it was definitely a lot of just deep breath. Okay. It was really funny because, I'm in a different country.
Yes.
I was so worried about messing up, conducting, or like, the tempo was a little off or a little too fast for the group, or, too slow, that it's like, what is this supposed to be? That it really became like, I was so freaked out. And then one of my friends who was on the tour with me, he was also a music major, he said, "Noah, you were never going to see any of these people ever again in your life." and I kind of sat there. I was like, "You know what? You're right. I'm never going to see any of these people again." And not that it made me want to do less, a worse job, but it kind of just was like, if I mess up, it's okay. I didn't mess up. That was I was very happy with how they came out. And it was really, really great. I was really proud of the work, and I was actually really happy with the program we took alongside my piece, because I thought it was insanely fun. We played the last two movements of Robert W. Smith's Divine Comedy, his symphony for wind band. That symphony is one of my favorite pieces, like, to play ever. I adore that suite, and I adore every single movement and what it represents, and how it pertains to Dante's, Divine Comedy and the Inferno, and all of that really popular theological stuff, because I really love how Robert W. Smith encaptures all of Dante's literature into that 25 minutes of incredible music. So that I was thrilled to.
So wonderful. How did you find your work with the musicians who don't speak the same language? Although I understand their English is on a very, very good level. However, they're from different country. Was it easy to put music together with them?
So we played a concert alongside a Norwegian group. We didn't play with them.
Oh, I see.
So the Sacred Heart Band played our set, and then they played their set, and then we played our set.
Got it.
We also toured with the Sacred Heart Orchestra, which was awesome, because a little bit of a shout out to the orchestra program. This was the first time we've had enough people to tour with the orchestra, and we had a quite large string section, and we had our full winds, brass, and percussion section, which is absolutely incredible. So
great! What a great feeling. So you mentioned composing. What else do performing, composing?
Yeah. So also I'm in quasi-educator. I don't have a degree, but I do teach private lessons on clarinet, saxophone, and for younger students on their beginning instruments, as long as they're not strings. I really enjoy doing that. I think the connection with students is just an absolute awesome feeling to see them grow, and it is so rewarding. On top of I'd put in the quasi education field. I direct a jazz band. It is a group here. It is called the Noah Held Jazz Band. I believe it or not, did not come up with that name. And it is a full jazz big band. This semester we have a few extra woodwinds that really bring the group to life. It is fully student run. It is fully student led, directed. We are not really affiliated with the school, so our concerts are public events, and it is a blast to run. It is one of my favorite things to do. We rehearse on Sundays, and every Sunday I just wake up excited to work with everyone, because everyone's so eager to play good, fun big band music, and it is really, really cool.
I'm so happy you have this purposeful existence in musical world. This is something that I'm admiring when it comes to young musicians. So you spend your Sunday on making music.
Yes.
Which is great.
Yeah,
What kind of teacher are you?
I like to think a really nice one. I like to think I'm really productive. I mean, I think there are, two main parts of teaching music. I like to think, I don't know, this is how my brain works. Mm-hmm. And it's connection, with your students. And then there is the music side of it. And it's not just about music, and it's not just about connection. Mm-hmm. I think without connection, there's no way to teach. I think if you are not providing a safe space for learning, there can be no learning. And I also think that connectiveness can bring the group together to make even better music. Because if everyone has, this great connection and this group has this chemistry, mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter what piece you're going to throw in front of them, they'll make it work. And I like to think that, my group, my jazz band really does have that connection and chemistry. And it's really just about expressing the group as musicians. There's a lot of, what do you want to play? I do choose the music, but like this semester we're playing a concert titled From Harlem to Havana. Oh, and wow. It is, each song is a different location. And I like to say, like, we're stopping at,
so it's like a journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Globetrotting.
Yeah. And we open with Take the A Train, which is huge jazz standard, and that is our Harlem aspect. Mm-hmm. And it like, that was a piece that was recommended, and we end off somewhat. I'm not going to spoil the concert. We end up in Havana. We're mm-hmm. playing a piece called Night in Havana, which was also recommended by a different, mm-hmm. member of our band. So I like to think that I'm pretty good with, using what everyone wants to play and trying to make a cohesive concert out of it. And I truly think that if people have that connection and really want to be there, that making music is just second nature at that point, and it just comes together and it's fun. So I like to think I'm a nice and productive teacher, but I also think there are things that go into making music that are a lot less about music than it is, making sure the group is cohesive.
You're absolutely right. And you're not only teacher. I think your personality is more than a rainbow, because there's so many colors of you. So you're a teacher, you're a conductor, you're a performer, you're a composer, you're leading a band. So it means that you're organizer, you're a producer, you're programming. Can you imagine how many things you do? And when you're teaching, all the students see you do all that. And this is, I think, sometimes it helps more than your comment, to see what you do, your personal example, where you can take music. And this is very important. So with all that you have accumulated for now, being, how old are you now? I'm
20.
You're 20, and you have accumulated all these skills in you already, and you're just starting. Isn't it amazing? Or who has been, it doesn't have to be one person. So sometimes it's, you mentioned your high school teacher, but also some inspiration, some maybe a story, maybe a person, maybe a book, maybe anything that goes along with you and keeps you motivated.
So I really, when I think of what motivates me, I really think about my family, my father. I love my father dearly, and he is a huge supporter of me, and he makes sure that I'm always thinking about, like doing more and, not overwhelming myself. And he's the first person to tell me to please go sleep. But he's also, so supportive of I want there to be 30 hours in a day, and there's no petition I can sign to make that happen. So he also, knows I'm going to push and knows I'm going to keep going. And he's just always in my corner. So it is so awesome to know that. And so is my brother. My brother is hugely supportive. My brother's also trying to tackle his field of things. We really live on the opposite spectrum of work. My brother's a football coach at TCU. He coaches offensive line there. So we both really live on the opposite side of things. He coaches football, and I'm trying to make it in music. So it's really awesome, the contrast between the two.
But he also works hard to bring the best out of the players.
Yeah.
Right? So you have similar tasks, but maybe in a different direction.
Yeah. So, but my family is a huge inspiration. On top of that, there's this almost ritual I'll do if I'm feeling down, or if I'm traveling and have time and I'm really just like tired and I really need to like just push or take a break, whatever I need to do, and I need inspiration to do it. I sit down, I put my headphones on, and I just stop, block out an hour of time, and I listen to the planets. I have probably listened to the planets an obnoxious amount of times, and I don't know what it is about the planets, but it inspires me so much.
Please remind everybody the composer of this.
Yeah, Gustav Holst wrote the planets, and I think I enjoy the fact that he specifically wrote the planets because he was also the father of modern wind band music. So I think that it just being Gustav Holst makes me so excited, because I look at pieces I've played or am playing currently. The Sacred Heart Wind Ensemble is currently playing First Suite in E flat, and I love it, obviously. And a year ago, it was last semester, the second semester of my sophomore year, we were playing Second Suite in F. I just adore Gustav Holst and wind band music, and all of the work that music has done to really show off, what is a more modern ensemble. Say modern, hundreds of years, but modern compared to an orchestra or a choral setting. People have been singing since, when were people? When did people start existing?
We still call modern, music of the beginning of the 20th century, or some music that has been reflecting the new style of life, basically, when the big cities started being built, and all this new sounds of construction and trains and airplanes. Pardon me. Usually music reflects everything that is going on in life, and the planets is another way to reflect what's around us in the universal sense. Curious about your dream piece or dream project, what you haven't done yet and what you would like to achieve.
So when it comes to like a dream thing to do, I mean that is constantly changing for me. But right now, I guess there's this piece I'm writing based off of the poem The New Colossus. That's actually the poem that's at the base of the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
And I'm writing a piece based off of that right now. Wow. And in my opinion, it is truly one of the most meaty pieces of music that I'm really just starting to. I'm right at the brink of really getting to where I want it to be. It is like it isn't even a draft yet. It's not fully finished. The plan is for it to be 3 movements, and I'm at like movement 1.5, 1 3/4.
What is the setup?
So, each movement is titled based off of a line in the poem.
Okay.
Oh God, am I gonna remember it? So I know that the second movement is entitled "Mother of Exiles," to reflect the way to reflect the way immigration has been such a big part of the culture in America. And the third movement is going to be entitled "Worldwide Welcome," which almost shows it almost. So the second movement is taking the theme that was shown in the first movement and dragging it through other cultures, and the last movement is taking folk music from other cultures and almost Americanizing it and like making it a fluid, not Americanizing it, putting it on top of the other folk music. It isn't like I'm not taking and making it a military march. That's not at all what I'm doing. But I'm taking this folk music and blending it with other cultures' folk music. To kind of show the melting pot that has accumulated in the United States, and how immigration really has made the country thrive. And I think that is what the Statue of Liberty embodies. You think of Lady Liberty, and you think of, patriotic America, but I really see the Statue of Liberty as a call to immigration, as a call to other cultures. It isn't, the Statue of Liberty was not made in America. It was not made by Americans. It is a symbol of unity. It is a symbol of giving to everyone, and not everyone that has the same, color skin as you do. It is for everyone. And I think that's a really powerful message that I'm really trying to bring out in my music.
I love the fact that you are reaching beyond and bringing it back, which comes as a full circle in your music and also in your philosophy. That is an essence of your music. And you have brought... You have sent some music for us to play. Could you please describe the pieces that you would like us to hear here in this podcast?
So the first, one of the ones I sent, I don't know what order it'll be in, is it is a string quartet, and it is entitled "Quartet for an Antique Wristwatch," and it's taken it is taken inspiration wise from Haydn Clock 101. It is I made sure when I wrote it to keep in mind that I want it to constantly feel it is a waltz, but it is kept in this one. It is felt in one. It is never out of this, tick, 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 tick. And it really is an embodiment of what time feels like. There's also a lot of really cool, somewhat not out there. There's a lot of, like Bartok pizzes in the string parts. There are really cool slides and in the parts, and there are really cool techniques that I wanted to experiment with when I was writing. Yeah, and that effect, and the piece ends with the watch breaking. It very much.
No.
The watch, and it isn't. It almost like it ends with the first violin player like almost sporadically like choosing when to bow like out of time, and it's the first time in the piece we're losing this feeling. It slows down for the first time and you kind of feel like it's the end, almost like the loss, like there's almost a grief to it.
I think of a heart.
Yeah. And it kind of beats out slowly until the first violin player starts breaking the
Yes.
it breaks, and then there's this we hit our chord and then it slides down at the end, and the whole quartet slides this chord down at the end, and it really just I kind of envisioned like when you turn an organ off while you're still pressing the keys, how it just melts. That was
Dissolves.
yeah. That was the pitch goes, the volume goes, it all just slowly peacefully leaves.
Oh, and then you give this role to the first violin, which is the engine, basically.
Yeah. And so it is, it's written in the part for the first violin player to cue the slide, to cue the notes. Like it is written in the part for that to happen. And I really, really, really enjoy that piece of music. And I actually wrote that while I was traveling with the Sacred Heart Band in South Carolina for a basketball tournament that we were playing pep band in.
Excellent.
So I think of that and I really just laugh, because why was I working? Why was I writing music? I was, on a practically paid, vacation. We're in a hotel. I have a roommate that's, my best friend who,
something prompted you.
Yeah,
Something was there.
And I was just like, well, I'm writing music right now. And he's like, are you serious? We're all going to the hotel pool. And I was like, I gotta write music. So
that's where the musician was speaking in you. And
so this is gonna be my string quartet entitled "Quartet for an Antique Wristwatch."
So the pizzicato of this piece, which reminded me of completely different instrument, and I thought of the Mountain King, the Grieg. I loved the sound of the rhythm there, and as we talked, it reminded me of the heartbeat. But this heartbeat was very rhythmical, and at the end, it becomes.
Yeah, it fades away and it gets slower, and as the music, comes to an end, the rhythm, like, really, leads that ending. It is very much a slow demise.
Just like in life, I love the mystery of the communication between the instruments and the slide. What you mentioned about slide, it was quite unexpected, but I really liked how you interwoven it in you. And what else? What other pieces do you have for us to?
So something I really like that I sent a snippet of the fourth movement of my Wind Symphony, my one and only symphony.
Wow.
And it is mainly in 5.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fast 5. And it starts with a restatement of the theme from the previous movements. It is a very connected, fluid piece of music, where it's not like, oh, this is the theme from the second movement. Like there are, 4 themes, and they're all explored throughout all 4 movements. And it is really just a dive into, how this music can be expressed in how many different ways. And I chose the excerpt from the fourth movement specifically because I truly love how it grows, and then like the natural swell that's built into the instrumentation. It starts with a bassoon accompanied practically by a saxophone quartet. And the bassoon has this melody that floats over this really, light, bouncy staccato, like articulated accompaniment from the sax quartet. And it floats, and then it just grows, and we add the upper woodwinds and some, a little bit of brass, and then, it grows so that the whole ensemble is either accompaniment or this melody, and it transfers back into one of the other themes that came secondary to the theme in the first movement, actually. So it's almost a representation of how the theme has grown throughout the whole piece. So when we end in that where I ended the snippet was really where it started, developing a second, one of the other themes.
So no, what is the second piece that we are listening to?
This second piece is an excerpt from the fourth movement of my Symphony No. 1 in E flat for wind band. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for your stories are fantastic. And I can see if I were a non-musician, I would be interested in hearing your music only because you're telling such interesting stories about this and the background.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly, because, I have thousands of more questions for you. But besides music, do you fit anything else into your day as a hobby?
So during the summers, I fit a lot more than I do during the school year. The variation in my day comes from when I'm stuck in instrumental music land to when I go sing in choir, which, doesn't seem very different, but it really is a nice palate cleanser. I sing I used to sing in multiple groups here, and then I realized, okay, I need time. I need more time than I have. So I cut it down to just one group, from three that I was in before, and I really enjoy my time singing in choir. On top of that, any other non-music things, I really enjoy to cook. It was something that when, changes happened in my life and, living arrangements changed and, there was no one to cook for me. I was like, I could do this. Like, this is something I can learn. And I did, it took me a little bit, but I feel like I cook really well. And it is really enjoyable. And like Valentine's Day was very recently. I chose to cook instead of taking my girlfriend out, and just I enjoy cooking a lot. And
Very creative.
and then in the summers when I have more time, I played tennis in high school. I'm a very avid tennis and pickleball player. On top of, I used to play hockey when I was a kid. I played for 10 years.
I see.
And I don't get to do that a lot anymore. But I hopefully once college is done and I'm in a new chapter of my life, I have a little bit of time to, lace up the skates, put the goalie pads on, and get in the net again. So
Thank you so much for your time. I can see you as a composer, as a cook, because you're working with the ingredients, your musical ingredients or culinary ingredients.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for your time. This is great to know more about you, and I really hope that people are going to come to hear you play and hear you talk about your music. And we are continuing with our Musical Mondays, and thank you everybody for your attention.